So Thomas Bell-Wright, the CEO of and Chief Technical Officer of Thomas Bell-Wright International Consultants. Thank you very much for joining us today. Well, let's just start off. I've taken a tour of your passive fire protection testing facility here in Jebel Ali. Very fascinating. But let's just talk about your history. And you started the company 25 years ago, I believe.
23 years.
23 years ago. All right. Well, how did it all begin for you?
In the US, I had actually I got my civil engineering degree in the US, although I'm English, as a mature student, and I was working for a company, and the opportunity came up to oversee the installation of the curtain wall on the Baynuna Tower in Abu Dhabi in 1992, 93. My wife and I guess being adventurous and newly married, decided to come over and see where it took us, and. So when the job was finished, we established a branch providing facade consulting, which there weren't any facade consultants here, but there was a need because there was a certain amount of high-rise building was sort of starting to blossom, and within not very long we had a break with the parent company in the US, and the company became mine, and so we continued on with the facade consulting, and but it was clear that the market needed what we call performance testing. So we made an arrangement with a US curtain wall testing lab. They had a sort of a package of site testing. It's kind of like all the equipment in a suitcase. You just open it up and hook it up and stuff. And so we leased that from them, and we were doing site testing for a while, and then we got into what we call laboratory testing. We got premises in, ultimately in Ras Al Khor in 1999. So then the curtain wall testing business grew, and the facade consulting business grew, and then in about 2007, one of our clients, a glass manufacturer from France, suggested that we get into curtain wall testing, into fire testing. It was kind of a long slog because it was we didn't know anything about it. It was quite foreign, but eventually we did our first commercial test in July of 2009. We were I think the market and some of our competitors were shocked at how quickly we were able to buy a furnace and get accreditation and get people trained and all that stuff. We were fortunate in hiring someone that was able to help us with this kind of background in fire testing. And then we've just kind of grown from there. We had not long after that we had an opportunity to buy a piece of what we call reaction to fire testing equipment from a company in the US. It's actually American equipment, but they had it in the from the UK. They had it in the UK because there had been a market for some wire tested to this American standard, and that market had gone away. And they asked me if I was interested in buying it. So we bought that. So then we were providing resistance to fire testing on the 3x3 furnace and reaction to fire testing on this. It's called the Steiner Tunnel. We were outgrowing our premises in Ras Al Khor, and in 2013. We were awarded this land here, which is 3 times the size of what we had in Ras Al Khor. So we ended up with everything takes time. So we moved in here at the end of 2016. Pretty soon after that, we started organizing for the big new furnaces that you saw now. The 4 meter by 5 meter vertical furnace and 4 meter by 5 meter horizontal furnace, so that we could attract to different parts of the market. There's a lot of backlog internationally for testing on those kinds of furnaces, and we also we bought and commissioned all of the equipment for what we call the reaction to fire testing lab now, which is sort of expanding on the Steiner Tunnel, 6 or 7 pieces of equipment that basically around European test standards.
All right, so 2009 was it the year you did your first testing for fire, creating fire panels rather. How has the market developed, and where do you see it progressing in the future when it comes to this particular part of construction industry?
It has developed. The there was a sort of a pent-up demand, of course, to begin with. We're no longer the only fire testing lab. So there's been some dilution from that. We are the only lab that is doing the fire propagation for which is these tests on building cladding, which are designed for this problem we were speaking about earlier, the aluminium composite panels, and, making sure that the facades on buildings are safe from all of these fires that have had happened so often here in the UAE. The initial sort of rush to get things tested and so on. We're providing also, I didn't mention, we became a certification body, which is its certification is an add-on to the testing that's necessary for civil defense approval. It kind of verifies that what's being installed is the same as what was tested. If you think of certification as being an indicator of how the fire testing business goes, after a while you sort of reach a plateau, and the new work is what manufacturers are coming up with new products that may be better or less expensive for them to produce or whatever, and those need to be tested. But sort of so that sort of rolls along. But the sort of the basic rush for testing is pretty much over now. Yeah.
So you provide the testing and, of course, the certification in line with UAE Civil Defence life, fire and life safety codes. There must be quite a few prerequisites for yourself to become a certified fire testing lab, I'd imagine, as well. What do you need to become?
There's a system called accreditation, and so the companies, the testing labs like us, and the people may be familiar with BRE and BSI and UL and FM and so on. These companies now are all accredited. So there's another level above them of organizations which are they all kind of self-certify. So these accreditation bodies, they come out and they audit us, and they go through we're obliged to follow which is called ISO 17025 for the testing, which is kind of like ISO 9001 for manufacturing companies. But so the ISO 17025, it specifies how we manage our documents and all the administrative side, but also the auditors come out and they watch us do each of the tests so that they're satisfied that we're doing the test correctly and that we have the correct mechanisms internally to make sure that we continue to do them correctly. So it's a very rigorous. We have a whole department that looks after these accreditations, and we have a number of them. We have ISO 17065 for the certification, ISO 17020 for inspections. We have AC 291. We're also accredited by AMCA for louver and damper testing. It's not a trivial issue, but when we first got into it, I wasn't really a believer. I thought it was just a lot of bureaucratic paperwork and stuff. I no longer have to look over the shoulders of my engineers to make sure we're doing stuff properly, because we have these whole systems, and very good systems, robust systems, to make sure that everything is done properly, and we have these regular audits internally and externally. So it's a fantastic system. Right. So we're accredited by UCAS, which is probably the best known accreditation body in the world.
Okay, sorry, who is that?
UCAS.
Okay.
United Kingdom Accreditation Service.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So fully accredited, and of course UAE-based company, UAE founded, and obviously you're a British national, of course, but a long association with the market here, the UAE and the Middle East, I'd imagine. But we also have international clients coming to your facility here for testing. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's quite impressive for a UAE company, I guess you could say.
Well, I suppose so. Thank you. The lots of big Dubai everybody knows Dubai now, and so there are many companies that want to sell their products here, and to sell their products here they have to be approved by the Civil Defence, and so we're on the list of approved labs. We're here, and I can see that it makes sense for them to come to us for testing and certification. Yeah.
Intersec 2019, you've been exhibiting at the show for the past 6 years as of course Thomas Bell-Wright International Consultants returning again 20th to the 22nd of January at the Dubai International Convention and Exhibition Centre. What have you got plans for the show, and who are you hoping to meet?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think most people go to the show expecting to trade shows in general to hope to meet new customers and so on. We don't expect to find people that are looking around for fire testing companies. so it's more about showing our brand and being there and being refreshing our acquaintanceships with the many people that we've come across in the market and so on, and as well as the regulators, the civil defence and so on. So it's about being there. Yeah.
Thomas, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you at Intersec.